If you're waiting for life to get easier, you've already lost. Miyamoto Musashi won his first duel at age 13. By age 29, he had defeated more than 60 samurai in mortal combat. He never lost a single fight. But what would he say to you, who are afraid to send a message to that person? Who avoids conflict? Who lives in your comfort zone? The answer will shock you. Because Musashi didn't believe in motivation. He believed in something much more brutal and much more effective. Today you'll discover why the greatest warrior in Japanese history believed that 99% of people are weak by choice, and how he transformed this brutality into wisdom that can completely change your life. But first, answer me in the comments. When was the last time you really faced something that scared you? I know it's not easy to face your own demons, or to break the barrier of inertia and pursue your own goals. But I'm sure that what will be said in this video can help you take a different direction in your life. Now, back to the video. You wake up every day promising that today will be different. Today you'll talk to that person. Today you'll start that project. Today you'll make that difficult decision. But night comes, and you're exactly where you were yesterday. I know it hurts to admit this, but you know it's true, right? Musashi called this a dead spirit. For him, those who procrastinate are those who have already died inside. And do you know what his remedy for this was? There was no gentle remedy. He said, "The path of the warrior knows no comfort." While you're waiting for courage to fall from the sky, the story goes that Musashi left home at age 7 to live with his uncle after an argument with his father, who, in an angry reaction, ended up swearing to kill him. Musashi left with nothing. No money, no protection, no guarantees. After all, he was only 7 years old. At this age, he didn't make this decision based on wisdom or strategy. He made it based on survival. Even though he was afraid of the future or uncertain, even though he didn't understand anything about how the world works, he was forced by life's circumstances to mature and learn his first lessons. From this, we see that the weakness is not cured with motivation. It is cured with action, even with fear. You know what's funny? It's that everyone says you need to feel confident to act, right? Lie. Musashi did the opposite his entire life. He specifically sought out fights he wasn't sure he would win. Do you know why? Because he discovered the secret that no one tells you. Courage doesn't come before action. It comes after. He had a brutal philosophy. I'd rather die trying than live wondering. And look how interesting. While everyone was talking about sword techniques, Musashi was studying carpentry, calligraphy, sculpture, and painting. Why? Because he understood that being strong isn't about being successful in one area of life. It's about being successful in all areas. In other words, there's no point in being successful, having a nice car, or a full bank account, if you don't take good care of your children, if you don't pay attention to your wife, if you don't take care of your own body. And here comes the part that will give you goosebumps. Musashi spent 2 years living in a cave, alone, without speaking to anyone, just himself and his thoughts. Could you spend 2 hours alone with your thoughts without picking up your cell phone? Comment below. Be honest. But calm down, because what he discovered in that cave changed everything. And that leads to the next point. One sentence. Just 5 words that Musashi wrote. Today is no different than ever. It seems simple, right? But this destroyed many people's lives. And rebuilt many people's lives too. What did he mean? That you won't magically wake up a different person tomorrow. That there's no right time. That courage won't rain down from the sky. Today is the same as yesterday. And tomorrow will be the same as today. Unless you do something different. Today. Musashi tested this every day. He woke before the Sunday. He trained until he bled. He studied until his eyes burned. He meditated until his mind ached. Every holy day. No exceptions. No, I don't feel like it today. No, I'll start tomorrow. And do you know what the result of that was? While everyone was waiting for the perfect Monday to begin, he had already become invincible. As a Japanese psychologist, an expert in samurai philosophy, said, Musashi understood that discipline is not an act of will, but a system. He did not rely on motivation because he had created structures that made action inevitable. And that makes sense, right? Because modern neuroscience proves just that. A Harvard neuroscientist explained, "The brain doesn't distinguish between real fear and imaginary fear, but it can distinguish perfectly between those who act despite fear and those who are paralyzed by it." In other words, your brain respects you based on your actions, not your feelings. Musashi already knew this 400 years ago, but here comes the most brutal part of all. Do you want to know what Musashi did when he was afraid? He ran towards fear, literally. When he heard about a samurai no one could defeat, he didn't hesitate. He traveled weeks on foot to find the man. When he discovered a weakness in his technique, he didn't hide it. He specifically sought out opponents who would exploit that weakness. Why? Because he understood something you need to understand today. What you avoid is exactly what controls you. Think about it. What's that thing you're avoiding doing? That difficult conversation? That scary project? That necessary change? This thing has more power over you than any enemy Musashi has ever faced. And you know why? Because at least Musashi's enemies were right in front of him. Yours are in your head. But wait. Now comes the solution. Remember the beginning? If you're waiting for life to get easier, you've already lost. Now you understand why. Musashi didn't become strong because he was born special. He became strong because he chose every day to do what the weak won't. And what's the difference between you and him? Just one. He stopped waiting to feel like it before taking action. So answer me one thing. What are you going to do today that is different from yesterday? Not tomorrow, today. Because today is no different than always, unless you make it different. And if you were impacted by Musashi's brutal philosophy, you need to watch this video that is appearing on your screen, where I teach what Musashi's life teaches us about building an unbreakable mind. I'm sure you'll like it. If you've stayed this far, thank you very much. Be present, walk with honor, follow the path,